time, weather, and always class.
Breath control and bad decisions. It's our game. With Gen X and Salty J, we'll shout it loud. A celebration of life. Come join the crowd.
Sid and Marty Croft, genius kid shows creators or fever dream purveyors. Today we're stepping into a universe filled with talking dragons, sea monsters with feelings, witches on flying vacuum cleaners, and enough psychedelic scenery to make you wonder what exactly was happening in television studios during the 70s, or more realistically, what was happening in the world of Sid and Marty Croft. Welcome to Breath Control and Bad Decisions. I'm Gen X.
Hey, and Salty J here too.
So today we are delving into the wild world of Sid and Marty Croft. Now, Sid, I believe, just passed away in March. I believe it was Sid, and he was in his 90s. So I thought, what a great time to look back at their wonderful creations in the late 60s, early 70s. And, you know, if you watch Sid and Marty Croft shows now as an adult, it's an acid trip, fever dream. It's what in the hell? But as children, this was a fantasy world that kids dug. Like, you know, we watched it and we're like, this is great stuff. And as an adult, you're like, what the hell is going on? You just hopped in a mysterious boat that appeared, and what is happening? And in later years, Sid and Marty Croft they got into more political stuff. They did a show called The DC Files in the 80s. And if you're familiar with the Land of Confusion video by Genesis, those are Sid and Marty Croft puppets. We're talking about HR Pufnstuf today. And I know, Julie, I watched it quite a bit when I was a kid. I know you didn't really, because it was already off the air by the time you were around, and I don't know if it showed in syndication, and I have no clue. When I brought it up to you, you're like, what is this? I'm like, just don't watch it if you are on anything. Just watch it straight and normal.
Well, I thought that I would watch it and be refreshed, like, oh yeah, I remember that. But I watched it and was like, what the hell? But
What did I just watch?
I liked it. I was confused, and I don't know, it's kind of neat having that perspective because I don't know, before that, it was like Leave It to Beaver, Andy Griffin type shows,
Yeah.
and then it goes into this, like, theater production, like, puppets and humans and sets, and, I thought that was really cool, actually, but it's different because, now when a cartoon comes out, they have, like, the networks and stuff, they have all these things. Is it educational? Is it gonna scare children? Is it gonna do all this stuff? But for us, as typical, it's like, let's throw some crazy shit on the TV, sit the kids in front of it, and have a science experiment. That's
Yeah,
kinda what
here
it feels like.
here, this will shut those little bastards up. And it did. We love this stuff. I had a friend watch it recently, and she was like, this is such a fever dream. I'm like, it really is. I don't know what they were doing, and I don't know what was happening in the late 60s, early 70s, where children's shows were we loved anthropomorphic giant puppets. We just did.
Yeah.
Because the New Zoo Review had the same thing, big giant animal puppets that had people inside of it. So H&R Pufnstuf, for those who may not know, who were never baptized in the Sid and Marty Croft world, NBC debuted this really odd show. It was a fantasy. It was, Sid and Marty Croft came out of vaudeville. They had roots in vaudeville and puppet theater, and they had already designed really elaborate stage productions for rock concerts and variety shows. So you can see that in their productions. You could see that in Pufnstuf and Sigmund and the Sea Monsters and the Land of the Lost and Elizabeth. You can see that. And they also did variety shows for the Brady Bunch. Remember, they had that variety hour, that variety show. That was a Sid and Marty Croft thing too. So you can see that background coming into play as far as their shows were concerned. But then they got into television and they just went fantasy full tilt. And I mean full tilt. If you watch the show and you listen to the theme song, it's the longest theme song in television history because it has to explain what the hell is happening. Like it has to explain what the hell is happening from the jump. So it's like listening to the theme song as an adult now. I'm like, how long is this song? Was it this long when we were kids? It's so damn long because it has to explain what's happening. And it follows Jimmy, who was a British child, and he had a magic flute named Freddie, because of course he did. And he's he's walking along or down a I don't know, he's in a field, something. I don't know where he's actually walking, but he's walking and he's playing this magical flute, and then all of a sudden he looks out on the beach, and there's this psychedelic boat that says the Living Island on its sail on the mast. And he just says, "What the hell? I'm gonna get in that." I'm just gonna get in that. What could possibly go wrong? This is great. Gets in. The weather turns rough. It's a whole Gilligan's Island theme. Weather turns rough, and the witchy poo is, she's the one who created this boat, and she's trying to get her hands on the magic flute. I don't know what the hell this flute is, other than it talking. I don't remember what else it did, but she's trying to get her hands on this magical flute. So she's trying to is she trying to drown him and steal it? Like, what is she actually trying to do? Is she trying to drown this kid and take his flute? Regardless, the weather turns rough. Pufnstuf calls on his I don't wanna say minions because they're not evil. He calls on his people, which are weird puppety slash people creations, I guess, that go out and they save the boat and they bring Jimmy to Living Island, and he washes ashore. Pufnstuf is a giant yellow dragon with white cowboy boots because sure, why not? And Jimmy is fully British, and Pufnstuf sounds like this, y'all. Pufnstuf sounds like he just came he just crawled out of the Ozarks. I don't know where the hell this accent came from, but it's such a juxtaposition to this very British accent, and then you have Pufnstuf, who is an absolute hillbilly. It's just
Yeah, it was like a British and then yeah, redneck mix. I
yeah,
don't know.
and he was the
Yeah.
mayor. He was the mayor of Living Island.
Yeah, it was definitely really odd. The only thing that really jogged my memory were, like, the lizard people,
See,
and
I
I
don't
don't
remember
know,
the lizard people.
maybe they were on something else too, I don't know, but yeah, I don't know, the costumes with the big heads, like, I definitely remember some of that stuff, but
Uh-huh.
I this was, like, definitely a new thing for me, but I do wanna say, like, even everybody that watches it or watched it as a kid, I think they probably have different memories about it because nobody would really understand it and then have different scenarios they make up in their head.
Yeah,
Like,
it's trying to explain it's trying to listen to it's akin to trying to listen to a kid tell a long dragging story that makes 0 sense. There's no connectivity there, and it just goes on and on and on, and they're like, "Oh, I met a giant, yellow dragon, and he was wearing cowboy boots, and he gave me all the ice cream that I wanted." Like, it's that type of meandering weird shit where you're trying to explain it, and people are like, "Sure, Jimmy, right. That's exactly what happened."
I think it though what I did like about it is it's kinda like the beginning of sci-fi storytelling. I mean,
It's
I
yeah,
if you
it's
look
very
at
much
it,
that.
yeah, it's before Star Trek and all that, like, it kinda has, like, that sci-fi feel to it.
Yeah, well,
You
no,
know, and
Star Trek was before Puff and Stuff for sure. Star
was
Trek
it?
was oh, yeah, Star Trek was '60s. Yeah, Star Trek
Oh,
was before it, but
I should know that, but I didn't.
it's that it's that very fantastical feeding into a child's imagination because kids will sit down in front of that and it opens up that creativity in their minds, and it's colorful. The sets were so colorful. Everything looked soft and dreamlike and surreal because it was. They had giant heads, exaggerated costumes, the exaggerated personalities so much so because you had to bring that character to life inside of a costume, so you had to be exaggerated as the actor inside of it, and it was magical to a kid. That's magic. I've watched a couple episodes on YouTube, and now YouTube's like, "Hey, what about this? What about this?" I'm like, "Hey, man, just let's relax. Let's cool off." But it's here's some there were only 2 people that actually auditioned for Witchy Poo, and Penny Marshall of Laverne and Shirley fame was one of them. And she did not get the part, obviously. She just didn't they didn't think she was right for it, and Billie Hayes was the perfect witchy poo. She was perfect for it. Theatrical and melodramatic and hilarious and very weirdly lovable despite the fact that she was horrible.
I feel like it had, like, this emotional weirdness, so you watch it and you kinda don't know how to feel, if
Yeah.
that makes sense.
No,
But,
exactly. You're like, "What?"
yeah, I definitely think a lot of people were probably really enjoying it on acid. But but,
I would say probably for sure. They would watch it with their
yeah.
kids. They're like, "We're gonna do this, and you guys are just gonna sit here and be cool."
But, some of the weirdness, even things like Stranger Things or Lost or anything with, like, lore and hidden universes and stuff like that, it's kind of the same thing. So it's pretty neat.
Right.
It's
It
definitely
all
like the bizarre visuals.
it all derives from this. It's camp before anybody knew what camp was, or before kids knew what camp was, right? And it's Witchy Poo wasn't she was a villain, but she wasn't really truly frightening. They made her ridiculous looking. She was campy. And they made her that way on purpose so kids weren't technically scared of her. And so that's another one of their Sid and Marty Croft's kind of trademarks is the villain was more ridiculous than they were evil. Because you
Yeah,
can't have a villain in a kid's show that's so scary that children don't watch because they're terrified and it's giving them nightmares. And so the other thing, the actor who played Jimmy, I think his name was Jack Wilde, he was 16 and he was supposed to be playing a 12-year-old
he
and
was
playing a 12
adorable though.
and playing a 12-year-old believably, and I think he did a good job. Like, I had no idea he was 16.
Yeah, I didn't either. I till you just said it. Like I thought he
Yeah.
was younger, so he did a
Yeah,
good job.
he definitely came across as that age, maybe even younger in some aspects, and it was just, a fantastical children's show. And I don't even think it ran that long. I only think it ran for 2 seasons. Because obviously if your child character is 16, he's an adult inside of a year
Right.
and a half, you know? So, that didn't run very long, but then they bookended it with, Sigmund and the Sea Monsters, and I don't know if you've seen that one, but
I
Sigmund and
did.
the Sea Monsters was adorable because Sigmund was really cute. He was a cute little sea monster. And his whole thing was he got kicked out of the cave that he lived in the sea with his family because he didn't wanna scare people. He wasn't scary enough for his family, so his family kicked him out. He wanted to be friends with humans, so it made him an outcast amongst all the other monsters. It's the classic Croft storytelling. Take a bizarre
Yeah.
fantasy and then make it into something emotionally relatable, which is he's an outcast because he wanted to be friendly and he didn't wanna scare people, and so he comes up and he becomes friends with Johnny and Scott. I can't remember who Scott was played by. Johnny was Johnny Whittaker from A Family Affair fame, and they just find him hiding in a cave, and then they decide to bring him home and keep him in their little hideout.
I remember Pee-wee's Playhouse, and
Mhm.
that had some of the same feels to me.
Yeah.
As far as, like, the weirdness and creativity and the setup,
Uh-huh.
and and I think after that, like, I think Tim Burton has a lot of the same weird. You're not really
Yes.
frightened, he's telling a story, it's so weird that you're intrigued and you stay locked in.
Yes, that's a really good evolution, and those 2 creations, I think, were born of growing up watching Sid and Marty Croft creations. And, Puff and Stuff was really fantasy, and Sigmund and the Sea Monsters was it leaned more into an emotional, you're not an outcast, and even if you are, there are still people that are going to like you and bring you into their family and love you. And that's kind of what Sigmund was like. And it just Sigmund had a softer emotional core to it. And then, but there were still goofy sea monsters everywhere. And their Sigmund's family was hilarious because they were so goofy and stupid, and I almost think the father sea monster was maybe loosely based on Archie Bunker. He wasn't a racist or anything like that, but I the gruffness and the kind of the way he was when I watch an episode now, I'm like, I feel like that might be a little nod to Archie Bunker in the father. And the father, I believe the person in the father's costume was a female, and the person in the mother's costume was male so they could get the
Oh,
exaggerated acting to bring those characters and those costumes stuff because you have to emote and act through those costumes. And if you're playing a role that as a- as a female, if you're playing a male lead, you tend to be more gregarious and more you're bigger, and I think the opposite is true of a male playing a female. I mean, we've all seen RuPaul's Drag Race, so it's kinda the same. And so they got bigger emotions out of those characters and bigger actions, bigger acting out of those characters because the roles were reversed, and it worked. It's just it's full of they were full of bright colors and clueless adults. Everybody in Sigmund and the Sea Monsters was the clueless, from the sheriff to the aunt. They were all just totally effing clueless. Like, that's always
yeah.
a big thing in these shows is that the kids are always smarter than the adults. Now it's played to a fault where parents are morons and all the adults are stupids and kids are precociously smart where you just want to punch them in the face. Back then it was an innocent type of my children are, they're making up stories and I'm just going to play into it, I'm going to believe it type of deal. It was just adults were portrayed differently as a little maybe more absent-minded versus nowadays where they're just portrayed as unbelievable morons.
Well, I tried to look up and see if they were actually on drugs, and from what I saw, it looks like they just grew up as, like, theater family, and that they
Yeah.
laughed about it in interviews, so I'm not really sure. I mean, given the times, I'm sure they probably experimented with something, but before that, it was very, like, wholesome TV, and then that felt,
Mhm.
like, weird, like an experiment. And then, by the time I do remember it, it was like when I was watching everything, it was super hyper commercialized, like everything was commercialized.
Yeah.
So it's it's neat that they had that. And I do wish I would have remembered it from being young because now it's like everything's so toy driven and market tested. And this is just wild. I
This
don't
is
even
yeah,
know.
this is just pure fantasy. I don't even remember if there were toys surrounding these shows. I'm pretty sure there was for Land of the Lost, which is also a Sid and Marty Croft creation, but I don't recall there being toys around Sigmund or Pufnstuf, and there might have been. Correct me if any of you remember there being toys around these shows, but if you watch these shows now as an adult, it's odd to go, "I watched this was when I was a child and loved it and adored it," and I have that same adoration for them as an adult when I watch them now with that touch of nostalgia, but I watch them as an adult and I go, "Holy fuck."
Yeah. It's it's different.
Yeah, it's
I
I mean, that's really what you can say. I mean, everything was low budget. Their productions were low budget compared to what you would see, those variety shows and the big primetime televisions, but the creativity outweighed that. You knew as a kid when you were watching it that, oh, that's a prop, it's a prop, cardboard, whatever, but you didn't care. The special effects were gloriously cheap. The sets wobbled. You could see the seams in the costumes, but it didn't matter because as kids, you're like, "So what? This is fun. I like it. I like it. This
I
is"
mean, even now, I love that, and
Yeah.
it's so wildly creative, and they did it on such a tight budget. I mean, that's
Yes.
to me, it's like if you and I tried to film well, it's kinda like us doing this, that's low
Yeah.
budget, or tried to film a movie like, Theo Von and, oh my god, what's wrong with me? David Spade, that
Yeah.
Busboys movie they just did, that was super low budget. Like, that's kinda to me the cutting edge, low budget, creative thing of the time, you know?
Yeah. I
It's
like
pretty
that.
neat.
I'm like you where I look at that and I go, I like that when I'm watching as an adult, I like when I'm watching it and I can see shit moving and I can see seams and I can see
Yeah.
whatever. Like I can see it because I it tells me they didn't care about finesse. It wasn't about how can we make this smooth and glossy to sell it because kids don't care about that. Kids in the
Yeah, it
'70s
was
didn't care about that. I don't kids today probably do because that's your TikTok generation, but they didn't need to be we didn't need to be finessed. You just needed to park us in front of a television with bright colors and anthropomorphic giant characters and white cowboy boots, and we're like, "I'm all into this. I have no idea what the hell's
talking
going on, but I'm all
mushrooms and
in." Yeah.
talking flutes and
Yeah.
yeah, it's
And
When he
it
rang
opens
the
up
flute
that
out
it opens that up. It opens up that
when he
creativity
rang the
in kids.
flute out, like, I was like, "Flutes are supposed to be metal. How is he twisted it?" You like, even as an adult, like, I'm
Yeah.
just so confused by it, but
But as a kid, you're like,
yeah.
"It's a magic flute. It's a
Right.
magic flute. Of
Right.
course he has to be he's alive, he's magic. Of course you have to twist him out." And
Yeah. So, I like it. I wouldn't watch it all the time, but I'm glad that I watched it. I laughed. I was definitely mesmerized for a while and
yeah.
then thinking, "They really just put this out for kids?" But, I mean, when you really think about it, our generation, it wasn't it feels like an experiment. It was like free range, be home by dark, watch whatever the hell you want on TV with monsters and big
Mhm.
heads
Yeah.
and maybe some kids had some nightmares, who knows, but
Who knows?
I think overall it was still pretty wholesome.
It was wholesome. They were wholesome shows because they leaned into that camp part of it. They weren't trying to be glossy. They weren't trying to tell, like, these stories that were seamless. Everything was disjointed. Everything was just kinda like everything is as disjointed as a child's imagination is, right? Children don't have when they're ever if you ever listen to a child tell you a story, you're 20 minutes in and you're like, "I have no idea what the fuck is going on here. I don't know
And
who the
that's
main
the show.
characters are. I don't know what the plot is. What the hell?" And that's what this is. It's, "All right, so what is the plot? This weird witch wants this flute. Why does she want this flute? Who the hell knows? What is this thing? That's supposed to be a dragon. It's yellow with spots
Yeah.
and cowboy
Why is
boots."
this boat flying through the air and not the
Right.
water?
Right. "Why
Yeah.
is this island alive? What is that thing supposed to be? Is that like Mayor McCheese? What is that? What is happening?" So it's
And
very
why
much
is
this
his head
disjointed
so
thing.
big? His head
Yes.
was giant and his feet with the white boots just looked
We're so
tiny.
small in comparison.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he was a hillbilly. He had that it's just hilarious. It's like, what is with this accent? Why is he a hillbilly? What is going on? And so it
I
just it's so handcrafted, and so it's such a thing where you're a kid watching that going, "Well, I could make that. I could create something like that."
I think it would be fun to do something off the wall like that. I
Yeah.
imagine their meetings where they were writing this stuff were probably pretty funny.
Yeah. I mean, could you imagine trying to put that on TV today?
No.
Mm-mm. It wouldn't it's
No.
not polished, it's not digital, it's not carefully tested humor and endless branding to how we can make more money off of this. The Croft universe was just messy and experimental and creative, and it wasn't afraid to be strange, and they didn't have television censors going, "No, you can't do that," or, "We can't say that, you can't do this, you can't." No, there wasn't any of that. No one else
It
made
might
children's TV like them.
it might be cool to put something like that on again because
Mhm.
now everything's so market tested, so AI, so polished that it might just be exciting to have something wildly creative and put together by hand and just original, because it's art. It's weird art, but
But it's
it's
art.
100% art. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and they had when we talk about, The Land of the Lost and The Bugaloos and Lidsville, and they really dominated '70s in that with that type of children's show, and they did a fantastic job of it. You can go to YouTube today and pull up, you can pull up all of the HR Pufnstuf and segment. You can watch those. I don't know what the algorithm will feed you after that. I know what mine has done, where it's like, "How about this?" I'm like, no, I don't wanna watch that. That is creepy and weird." But you can certainly go to YouTube and pull up all of these shows and watch them for nostalgia's sake and just sit there and I sat there and smiled and I laughed and I thought, "Man, I loved watching this when I was a kid." I even as a kid, I couldn't tell you what it was about, other than there was this
Yeah.
weird looking witch that was trying to get her hands on a magic flute, and I have no idea how this British kid ended up in the sticks. How did this British kid end up with this hillbilly mayor of Living Island? Wouldn't he be like the president of Living Island? If the island is an island, isn't the mayor kinda smallish down the totem pole? Why isn't he the president of Living Island? I'm just
I
saying.
don't
I'm
know.
just saying puff and stuff, aim high. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
theme song, again, is long. is a long theme song just because it has to set the premise. It's got there's your we gotta tell everybody what's going on before the show even starts. Everybody fucking knows. But Paul Simon actually sued and he has a writing credit for HR Pufnstuf. Because if you listen to the chord progression and the way the song moves in HR Pufnstuf, it is very, very similar to the, what is it, 59th Avenue Bridge song? I think that's the song. Is very similar to that song, and so Paul Simon actually sued for that, and he has a writing credit for HR Pufn's theme song.
I mean, it's I don't even know. I don't know what to say about it. Whenever I said, "This is gonna be a hard episode for me to talk about," because mostly you know how I said, like, sometimes I just get where I don't have any words?
Yeah,
Like, I watched it and pretty much it was like, "Wow."
right. What the fuck did I just watch? It's true. It really is. You watch it and you go, "Holy shit. What did I just see? How lo" This was on TV. This was on network TV for children. Okay.
Yeah,
But kids loved it. I loved it when I was a kid, and I still
yeah.
sing the HR Pufnstuf theme song, and I sing it to my dog, and she hates me, but I sing it as RL Puppenstuff because she's a dog and her name is Rue Lily, so I sing RL Puppenstuff to her, and she hates me for it. But I sing a lot of songs to my dog, and I replace anytime there's the "you," I replace it with "Rue." So if there's a "you" sound in a song, I replace it with "Rue," and she's like, "Oh my god, I hate you. This is why I like to go to daycare, mom, because you are really annoying as hell."
Does she ever howl or anything while you sing?
No, she just looks at me like I'm an insane person. You know, when I sing Queen, Don't Stop Me Now, I say I wanna make a supersonic dog out of Rue. Hallelujah is hallelujah. Anytime there's a "you" sound or the "you" word, it becomes Rue, and I'm insufferable, and my dog knows it, but the HR Pufnstuf theme is probably the worst one. That's my worst one that I do to her, because if I hear the song, if it starts playing in my head, I just start singing RL Pufnstuf, and she's like, "Oh my god, I hate it here. I hate it here. I wanna go to daycare."
Can see where it would get stuck in your head. I can
It's
remember I think the thing that got stuck in my head the most as a kid is that "Nick, Nick, 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 Nick,
oh, yeah.
Nickelodeon."
Oh, oh, thank you for replanting that seed. Shit.
My god, I'd be, like, in the kitchen, like, looking in the refrigerator and start singing that and be like, "Oh!" Like, it just that or that song, "Our House in the Middle of Our" that gets stuck in my head too,
Well, that's a good
so
song. Okay, that's okay because that's a good song. Madness is that's a good song. That's okay to have that one stuck in your head. That's a good song. Now oddly, I don't have the Sigmund and the Sea Monsters theme song stuck in my head because it's not as memorable, it's not as good, and perhaps because it wasn't as long. Maybe that's why. The song was 10 hours long. You're like, "Oh my god, I'm never gonna get this song out of my head." And it doesn't the
yeah,
theme song, the chorus of the song doesn't make any damn sense, but who cares? We were kids. Kids make up stupid
yeah,
songs all the time. So it doesn't matter, but no one else made children's TV like Sid and Marty Krofft did. They just didn't, and I remember as I got older, and I remember when I watched the Land of Confusion video, and I immediately knew that those were Sid and Marty Krofft puppets in it because of the features, because of the way they're made, the hard edges, the over exaggerated faces, the over exaggerated features. I'm like, those are Sid and Marty Krofft puppets, I think. That's the kind of shit that they created, and it's memorable and it's nostalgic, and I'm glad that they did it. I'm glad that some of us got to see that and we grew up with it, and you can definitely see that they had influence on creators later on.
yeah,
I mean, we're certainly never
yeah.
gonna see children's shows that are just slapdash put together.
I mean, I kinda hope we do.
I think I would love to, but they would never. This isn't it's not glossy, it's not polished, it's we can't how can we tie this into a brand deal? How can we make this marketable? How can we get 1,000,000 followers on TikTok? How could we they would ruin it, and they would make it to, they would just ruin it. They would just fucking ruin it.
It reminds me of, like, being a little kid, which is probably how they got started. We would make our own little sock puppets and
Mhm.
cardboard boxes and, do it reminds me of that, and we should bring some of that back because, like I said, there's too much commercialized entertainment, and that's just very pure and weird and unedited.
Yeah, that's how it feels. It feels very much, here's the show. We created all of this shit this morning. Here it is. We didn't even edit it. Enjoy.
Yeah.
And I like it. Is it because it fueled imagination? Is it because you got that half an hour of time where you were in this little world of weird puppets and weird imagery and fantasy? Probably, probably. Was it educational? I don't know. I have no idea if it was technically educational. It didn't really teach you anything other than maybe don't hop in a boat that suddenly appears on the bank of a river that you're walking along because you think that'll be cool. Like, don't do that. Just if you don't already know this by now, if you're walking along a beach or a riverbank or the lake or something and you see a weird messed up boat that just shows up, don't get in it. Just don't get in it. Don't do that.
How long did it last? Do you know?
I
Like
think
how
it
many
was I
years
think it
or
was like 2 seasons. I think they did 2 seasons of it. And then that rolled into Sigmund, which rolls into, well, I think that rolled into Lidsville and Sigmund, and then that rolls into Land of the Lost and Bugaloos, and just kind of a progression of, okay, we're not doing this show now, we're gonna go do this one, and none of them lasted a really long time. I think
I sh
longevity-wise, most of them lasted 2 seasons.
yeah, I should have watched some of their interviews instead of trying to watch all their work. Because 'cause I'm very curious about them now. Like I
Yeah.
said, I was looking up, like, did they do drugs? Because it
How
definitely felt
fucked
like
up
an
were
acid
they?
trip. Yeah. Did they eat mushrooms and then sit around and say, "Let's do this," or but,
No,
it
their background was just, this is their
created
background, and it was creative, and let's get into
they
the
must have been
children's
free-range
minds.
kids too, like, "Hey, here's a stick and some cloth and, that go make
And go
something."
go
Like
make something. Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
because when we were kids, we made sock puppets. We looked at a sock and we stuck it on our hand and we went, "Oh, sock puppet."
Yeah.
I had one that
Even,
was a
like,
dog.
sewed
It was a
button
dog and I
eyes
had, yeah,
and
I had button eyes and it had a little ring around its eye like Petey and our gang, and it had floofy ears, floofy, drapey ears that I sewed on, and it had a little tongue. All the puppets, they had yarn, some of them had yarn hair. If they were girls, they had yarn hair on. But I was
I think
never
we're
creative
all
enough to do like a puffin stuff style puppet.
well, I think we're all still intrigued with that almost human, but doesn't really look like human. I mean, look at like Henson and the Muppets
Yeah.
or, like the puppets or cartoons that have very human traits, but aren't really human.
Mhm.
Like they kind of catch your attention and make you stare.
Yeah.
So I could see where even toddlers and stuff would be mesmerized because it's kind of like, wait, what's wrong with this? Why do I
Right.
feel weird? And now I'm watching, you know,
Right.
that's
And it's
that's
and they
kind of what I get from it.
and they have all those bright colors. Everything was over the top. Colors, the costumes, the everything. The mannerisms. They
Yeah.
just I mean, they create the creativity to think of something that fucked up, and I am saying that fucked up because let's be realistic, that premise of this witch is trying to get a magic flute from a kid, so she creates this boat and then creates really bad weather knowing this kid's gonna get in this boat. The whole thing, like, that's such a wild premise. Can you imagine coming to the writer's room being like, "All right, here's the deal. Here's what I got. All right, so this kid, right? He's got a magic flute. Magic flute. Yeah, no, just stay with me, man. He's got a magic flute. It does like it talks and shit. It's all magical. And like there's this witch that wants to get it, but she can't get it. And the only way she can get it is by tricking this kid into getting into a boat and then creating really bad weather, really rough weather, so this boat will wreck and the kid will drown and she'll take it. But that's not what's going to happen, right? Because we can't drown a kid, right? That would be a terrible kid show. We can't do that. So it's going to be intercepted by this island that's called the Living Island, and there's going to be like these magical creatures on it. That one's a dragon, but he's yellow and he's got a big round head with spots and googly eyes, and he's wearing white cowboy boots. I don't know why he's wearing white cowboy boots, but I'm just going to put him in white cowboy boots. It's going to be super cool. He's going to intercept this boat, right? And then the kid's going to wash up on this living island. And it's a living island because everything on it is alive. Trees, everything. It's all fucking alive, man. Are you with me? You with me? Okay. So he's going to get to this island and then And the kid's gonna be very British. The kid is gonna be very British. I cannot stress this enough. The kid is gonna be very British. He's gonna get to this island. He's gonna wash up on shore. He's gonna be standing in front of this fucked up looking thing with white cowboy boots, and he's not gonna be scared of it. And then it's gonna talk, and it's gonna have a southern accent. Huh? What do you think? Is this a winning show,
Yeah.
guys? What do you think?
Yeah. It's like drawing cards with, like, really absurd things and matching which ones should go together.
Right. Yeah.
You know what that just reminded me? This is so dumb, but when we were little, we'd be about to go to sleep and, like, I'd have sleepovers and stuff when I was
Yeah.
really small, my cousins, and we would say, "Good night," and then we'd say dumb stuff like, "Why did the cow jump over the moon?" And then the other person would be like, "And eat cheese." And then, "Why is milk chocolate is the cow bread?" Like, we would say dumb stuff that didn't make sense, and I think it was just being slap happy trying not to fall asleep, but we'd
Yeah.
roll around laughing saying shit that made no sense whatsoever,
You
and
could
it
have
would
made
just
that
get
into a
more and
TV
more
show.
absurd.
You could have made that
Yeah.
into a TV
Yeah,
show.
that's so maybe they were just really tired and they were brothers and they did the same thing and it just turned into a TV show. Because
They're like, "Let's see if we can get this shit green lighted," and the network went, "Yeah, do it. Yeah,
and they were
totally
probably
cool."
like, "Wait, what? Yeah?"
Yeah. That's the simplicity and the beauty of TV back then. Just fucking do it and put it on the air. Now it's gotta go through I mean, I know that shit had to go through standards and practices or whatever the hell it was. I don't know if it was called that back then where, that's why couples on TV had 2 twin beds, like, I get that, but I feel like they were a lot more loosey-goosey with what they allowed on television versus today, and I say that knowing full well that there's nothing but a bunch of reality bullshit on TV, but I feel like you understand my point.
I really don't know what else to say about it except for it was entertaining.
Mhm.
I did feel confused. I felt weird. I did laugh.
That's really why I wanted you to I'm like, "Just watch it. Just I know that you didn't watch it when you were a kid. I want you to go watch it and then tell me what you think." And,
Yeah, I mean,
I would
I
like to
liked
do an
it.
episode on it.
It was beautifully weird imagination, like, it was. It was
Yes.
beautiful.
Yes.
It looked cheap, it didn't really make sense, and I feel like, seriously, everybody probably has a different interpretation of it because I can't imagine everybody watching it and going, "I get it, this is what it means," because
Right.
I still feel like I don't, you know?
No, I don't think there was
But
ever any actual meaning to it.
but I
It
think
was
it did
just
support.
here is some creativity. Here's some imagination, fantastic shit.
Well, and I think it did, like, support emotional growth, and I think that it did, like, have some wholesome stuff like, "Hey,
Mhm.
don't be scared of people or things that look different than you," or,
Mhm.
like, there was
That's
also.
a really good takeaway, Julie. I mean, it really is when you boil it down to that type of an elementary level, it really kinda is you're right, don't be scared of things that are different than you.
Yeah. I'm still at that level.
I think most of us are. I would like
Yeah.
to think that most of society isn't scared of things that are different than us, because everybody's different than us. But just don't get into boats that suddenly appear when you're walking around. Just don't do that.
Yeah, and if flutes are talking to you and spitting out water, then,
Yeah,
maybe you should
if flutes
be
are
checked
talking to
out.
you, like, lay off the drugs.
Yeah,
Yeah, lay off the
yeah.
drugs. So, no one else made children's TV like Sid and Marty Croft, and nobody ever will again. And I'm glad that you gave it a look. I hope you'll watch some more of it, Julie, when you have some time, when you have some downtime. I hope you'll watch some other episodes
I
of it.
I probably will, or I'll
Yeah.
probably be talking to somebody, bring it up and be like, "Watch this shit," you know?
Yeah, and they'll be like, "What the hell?" I played it in the hair salon yesterday when I went to go get my hair done,
Oh,
'cause
did you?
my friend is my hairdresser, and we had been talking about it the last time I was there, and there was a girl in the chair next to me getting her hair done, and my friend is, I think, 40 now, and so I pulled it up on YouTube on my phone, and I just wanted her to listen to the theme song, and I cannot tell you how quickly this girl tuned out.
Yeah.
It was like
My
it
kids
was
would
like
totally.
it was like 10 seconds and she was 30, maybe late 20s, early
Yeah.
30s. I mean, it was just she's like, "You guys watched that when you were a kid?" We're like, "Yeah."
It It
Yeah.
kinda has the same feel to me as, like, Napoleon Dynamite. The first time I watched that, the whole
Yeah.
entire movie, I was watching at a friend's house, and I was thinking, "What the hell do they have me watching? This is so weird. Why am I watching this?" And then I watched it a second time at my house, and it just got, like, funnier and funnier, and now I've seen it probably 10 times, and every single time I watch it, it's funnier. So,
Yeah.
I kinda feel like that's how this would be because you kinda understand the absurdity when the first time you watch it, you're just kind of feeling confused.
Yeah, and you watch it that first time, you're like, "What the hell is happening?" The second time, you go, "Well, I need to watch that again. There's something about it, I need to watch it again." Because I did the same thing. I didn't when I first watched Napoleon Dynamite, I wasn't like, "What the hell is this?" I was just like, "Oh, okay. There's no actual plot here." But I liked it the first time I watched it. I just liked that it just flowed. It's just this is just and I was like, "This is kind of refreshing. I like this." And so, I kind of feel like that was how Sid and Marty Croft shows were, is they just flowed.
Yeah,
They just
yeah,
flowed. So,
yeah.
we hope you enjoyed the episode. Be sure to subscribe and leave a review if you're listening on an app that you could do that. It's Spotify, I know you
Yeah,
can. I
that would
think
be
Apple.
appreciated.
Yeah, it just helps us with the algorithm. And then let us know. Tell us what classic children's show did you remember? Do you remember the Sid and Marty Croft shows? What was your take on Puff and Stuff and Sigmund and the Boogaloos and their shows? I would really like to hear from other people who
Who
remember the
remembers
shows,
it?
who remember it from when they were kids. And if you haven't seen it like Julie and you watch it as an adult, we want to know what you think now as an adult watching it as well if you've never seen it. 'Cause
Genuinely,
Julie
so
needs to be validated. I made her watch this show, and she was like, "What the hell do you have me watching?"
it's funny, it's funny. Yeah, and the next episode, we're gonna have about first jobs, like, jobs
Yes.
as our youth, and I think that one's probably gonna be my favorite. I don't
Yeah.
know. I've written it, and I laughed writing it down, so my favorite episode so far is the telephone one, the evolution of communication.
Evolution of communication. We hope that you
Great.
guys are enjoying the episodes as much as we like putting them together and going down our little memory lanes, and they're both different. Mine's different than hers, hers is different than mine. We're different ages, and we grew up differently, but we come together to produce something that I feel is very organic and nostalgic and funny, and we hope that you get that. We hope that you're getting those same feels out of these episodes too. They're not to teach you about the creators or this or that. They're more of a hey, remember this? Let's talk about that. That's why
And remember
we're
how
not
you
going into
felt
deep
when you were
dives.
I want people to remember how they felt while they were eating their Cookie Crunch cereal in front of the
Yeah,
TV,
yeah,
watching it.
watching it.
Yeah,
Not being able
yeah,
to wait till Saturday mornings. We're so glad that you participate and you are listening. We're very thankful for all of you. We appreciate your coming back. We appreciate you being part of our Facebook group. So, until next time, keep the magic alive and the fever dreams away.
absolutely, and don't do drugs while you watch this, or do
Mm,
drugs while you watch this.
yeah, either way, we're not here to judge.
Yep. Alright. Have a good one. Good night.
Bye.
Bye.